to the Spicy Booknook, where we discuss all of our favorite and not so favorite dark and dirty book series. We're your hosts, Aj.
And Tay. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Today we will be reviewing Sick Boys by Clarissa Wilde. Please be aware that there will be spoilers and explicit content for mature audiences only. Trigger warnings for this book include suicide and suicide pacts, mention of child sexual assault by a family member, dubcon, knife play, degradation, public sex, voyeurism, cum eating, and snowballing, double penetration, double vaginal penetration, spitting, frauding, sword crossing, mask fetish, fire play, blood play, anal play, and plugs, permanent scarring and mutilation, immolation, extreme violence and torture, murder, dead animals, and yeah,
That is
that's the trigger warnings.
such a long list.
Yeah,
Such a long list.
yeah.
So what
So
do
what
you
do you
rate
think of
this
it,
one?
Brian? A 4.5. I thought it was really good. I do think that it was long as fuck. Um, but overall, I think the book was like really, really, really good. I enjoyed it. What do you think?
Same. I'd probably, yeah, like 4.5. I also agree. I think like instead of 500 pages, probably could have been like 3.
Yeah,
It was just, yeah, it was like long, but after I read it, obviously we've read long books before, but like once I got to the end, I'm like, why was this so long? Like I didn't see why that was as long as it was.
I agree. Because I feel like it was there was a lot of detail in the book, which is always good to like know who the characters are. But I feel like it just kept elaborating on the same details. So I
Yes.
felt like it made the book a lot longer than it should have been. But I mean, I don't have like horrible ratings for the book because I felt like it was like the plot was pretty good. Like with the, I don't know, I guess I'll let you do the synopsis.
With the story.
Yeah,
Yeah, the storyline was like really good. I agree. I think maybe some stuff was just a little bit repetitive. I don't know. But the storyline was good. We have our main character, Penelope, and her sister commits suicide and leaves her journal. And so Penelope goes to the college that her sister went to and is pretty much trying to avenge her death and try to figure out why her sister killed herself. She stumbles upon some boys who are, what is their society called again? The
the Snakes and Serpents
boom,
sorority, isn't it?
boom, something like that. And
Yeah.
pretty much in the journal, her sister tells her to stay away from them, that they're dangerous. And does she stay away from them? No. And so pretty much they tell her that they have an idea about what could have happened to her sister and that they'll help her figure out who killed her sister because they're like, her sister was a close friend to them. And they also want to know what made her sister jump off the cliff.
Yeah.
So, which is very traumatic. And so, pretty much, they say that she has to agree to be theirs, who they could pretty much do whatever they want with. And then they'll help her figure out who was the cause of her sister's death.
Yeah. And it just gets crazy from that moment on because I feel like it was nothing but everybody coming. Like that
Like,
was the rest
like,
of the book.
yeah, like it definitely reminded me of Losers, like to the T.
Yeah, because it was a lot of it just
Like,
it was sex, 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 sex.
yes, it was
I'm not
definitely,
saying I didn't enjoy it, but
but it
it's a lot of
definitely
sex.
reminded me, like, literally when I was reading it, I felt like I was reading Losers again.
Oh, yeah, it definitely gave losers again. I do feel like in this book, like the main character was like she had zero self-respect like for
Because,
herself
girl,
at all. she let them degrade her from the beginning and like didn't even like put up a fight about it. Like she
That's
was just
what
like,
that's I guess that's where I was like, mm, because it wasn't even like, okay, she started to like, like them and build a relationship with them, and then they got into the degradation type thing. It was like straight out the gate.
she
They was just
folded.
they she folded straight out the gate. I was like, damn girl, stand up. Like,
Stand up. No, for real, because it was like, girl, from the beginning, like I think he like told her to like suck his dick or something like that, and she was just like,
and lick his come up off the floor. Girl,
yeah, and she
what?
did it with barely any hesitation. Like the hesitation that she did have was probably like a 5 second thought in
It
her
was like,
head,
oh, I really
and
shouldn't
nothing.
do this, but
But she,
okay. But okay,
right,
if you say so, girl.
stand up. Like she really just kind of sucked when it came to like caring about herself. I kind of like a more headstrong female main character because I feel
There
like
we go. Same.
you
I
you
just
can't just you gotta put up a little fight and be like, boy, I'm not doing that, and then he makes you do it, like out of some like because but then like and then I also felt like there was a little lack of aftercare in this book, like
they was just like fucking the shit out of her, and then just like, all right, cool.
yeah, and I
Like
felt like it was still
what?
kind of rude,
There was
like
no, yeah, there was the aftercare. Definitely, there was. It was like non-existent. Like, it wasn't. I'm like, we didn't even. Nobody even bathed her, gave her a shower, shit, rubbed her feet, rubbed her back, something. I mean, y'all sticking dicks in all her holes, and everybody just is like, all right, bye.
that's what I'm saying. Like y'all over here double teaming her, double teaming the same damn hole, and then afterwards you're just like, "Have a good night, peace
Like,
out." Like
yeah,
they didn't really give a fuck about her at all, and like I feel like it was kind of insinuated that they cared about her, but like I don't think it was really.
I didn't feel it.
I
I
don't
didn't.
feel like it was really expressed enough for me to be like they really gave a fuck about her.
Because I will say, what I can say from Losers is
Oh,
similar
they
similar as far as them being just as ruthless and mean and dirty, but I felt like in Losers you could actually tell that they did care about her and like they actually loved her. This one, like you said, it was like, it's like insinuated that they, like, I guess, care for her, because I wouldn't even say love, because that's crazy. But I don't know, I just don't feel it. I just
I
don't
feel
feel it.
like because of how low her self-esteem was and how
Maybe
quick
that's it.
like how quick she was like on like their side and like ready to do whatever for them without any kind of like, care. I feel like that's where we're like, there's a disconnect. But I
Yeah.
feel like for her, she's so like I hate to keep bashing her, but like she's so kind of low down when it comes to like her own self-esteem. It feels like from like my perspective that this was enough for her. Like it was because she has three guys who like want to give her what she wants in the bedroom. I feel like that was enough for her. For me, uh-uh. I need some aftercare. I need you to like I mean, they praised her, but not even enough for my liking. Like they called her a good girl and like all that good stuff, but
But
like
barely. Mostly it was like, you a slutty ass whore.
yeah, and like she even mentioned like I kind of don't like that, but I
Like,
kind of do. And I'm
and
like, girl, pick a
but
side.
I feel like it was different because then they would also call her that in public, and she's like embarrassed by it. But it was
Yeah.
clear that they had no like regard for her feelings. Like, they're like, girl, I'm gonna call you whatever the fuck I want to call you, and you're just gonna deal with it. And she did. So they really, it was really like they knew that she wasn't gonna say no to them, and so they really like took advantage of that. Like, they knew like, this girl is, one, she's looking for who killed her sister, so she's desperate. And so it was like they knew like she's literally gonna do whatever we tell her.
I will say the author let us know that this was like a really like strong bullying book. So yeah, they were bullies, but I also feel like whether or not you're a bully as a male, character in a book, I kind of want you to like show a little sexiness and softness towards me. And
Yeah.
like they weren't even understanding that she wanted that softness in public and the rest could go and stay in the bedroom, which was fine. But they took it everywhere and they really didn't give a fuck about her, if you ask me.
Yes, like in the end, I know they all were like pretty much, oh, like in love, but I just wasn't buying it because I was like, girl, these men just don't give that. They just didn't give that
Yeah.
to me. I like the book was fine. It wasn't bad. I still would
Yeah, like the
keep my
story and the
rating.
twist.
I think I just like you said, like I prefer a stronger female character because I feel like a lot of these books we get a female character who is like a pushover and kind of bends to the will of men. So it's like it's really nice to have a female character that is strong and is like, fuck you, I'm not gonna take your shit. And I feel like
But
it makes for like a better like chase. Like Den of Vipers,
yeah,
how Homegirl and Den of Vipers, remember when they went to kidnap her and they had
the-
such a
sh-
terrible time because
she was cutting
she
up.
was beating everybody's ass and they were like so annoyed with her because they're
She
like,
was running
why?
away.
They're like, bitch,
She was
just let us
fighting
kidnap you.
people.
That like, but it made for a good story because it's like she's like, y'all can take me, but like not without a fight. Like I'm gonna at least do something to try to free
Yeah.
myself. Like you said, homegirl literally, he's like, okay, lick my cum off the floor, and she's like, okay, I guess. Like, no fight, no
Yeah.
nothing, huh? Just
And
right
I
out the
feel like the author, like when they were writing like the scene like where they all are talking about like their jealousy towards like each other, like and how they feel about her and they're like she's mine or whatever. I feel like that was them trying to like bring that love part to us, and I just it wasn't hitting for what I thought it was hitting for. Like I
I
wanted it
guess
to be I wanted more from them.
it
I really
gave
did.
like more of infatuation instead of love.
Very much so.
Like it
Very,
was
very much
more like
so.
I'm infatuated with her. I like the idea of her. I like the idea of owning her and her being like my property, but it didn't give love at all. Like it wasn't giving love. I
Yeah.
will say Alistair was the only one that seemed like he even half-ass liked her. Like in
Yeah,
real
no.
like like I mean her and Dylan, Dylan had his moments too. Felix definitely just seemed like he did not fucking like her at all.
At
So,
all. He
like,
was accusing her of killing her
even
sister.
how he acted, like, I wouldn't have been turned on by him at all. Like, not
At
even in the
all.
in the
I didn't like
slightest.
him a little bit.
Like Dylan and Alistair, I feel like they were like a little mean, but a little playful, and could be kind of sweet at some points. Especially Alistair. Alistair was really sweet sometimes,
Uh-huh.
but like Felix didn't give any of that. Like he was just like straight dickhead, and I would
He
have
was a
been
full bully.
just a full blown. And I'm just like, damn, like he didn't give anything. He just wanted to take. So that definitely, I don't think I would have been feeling him because you're doing too much.
Yeah. I feel like one thing I really didn't care for in the book was the suspense of what happened to her sister and how long it was pushed out.
Oh
And then
man.
kind of how it like fell apart. Like I feel like it was going strong towards the beginning of the book, and then during the middle, I felt like it was dragging the fuck on. Like I was like, okay, let's put the story together. And then by the end, I was like, okay, like I really liked how it played out, but at the same time, it was still a lot. Like it was a lot.
There was a lot of details. It was like a lot to keep up with
Hmm.
within the story, like especially as they're introducing like new characters and you got to keep up with everyone who's everyone's dad and what's their part in everything. And it's like you're right, like towards the end it's like just tell us what the fuck happened. Okay?
And
Like I've
and
been
it was kind of predictable because I guessed it from the beginning.
I'm like I just like I'm keeping up and now I'm just okay, just tell us what happened. Just tell us what happened. So it wasn't. What did you think? See, now what I wanted to happen, I just wanted her to like branch off and want to be with like Dylan and Alistair and not Felix.
Same.
So
Same.
like normally I'm all for like the more the merrier, but in this book I was not for the more the merrier. Like I was like, we need to get the fuck rid of Felix ass.
Cut that
And
motherfucker off.
I was like, her, Dylan, and Alistair can just live happily ever after in their little throuple life and
Hmm.
just be so sweet to each other and just love on each other. And Felix can just go to hell. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree because he was just a lot, like too much. Because,
Yeah.
like I said, he was accusing her of killing her sister, and she had to literally like prove that it wasn't her. And like to have to prove yourself to someone that says that they love you is really just it's fucked up. Like, boy, degrade me in the bedroom, not everywhere else. Like you're taking it too far from me.
Yeah, he was more of a like, I'm going to grade you 24/7.
And
Like,
Dylan was a motherfucking freak. Okay, I think it was
definitely.
Dylan, he was like, it don't matter to me what hole. Like, if it has a hole, I don't care who it belongs to. I want it. And I'm like, he was wild. Like, I really liked his character because he just said whatever the fuck he wanted, but he was a lot.
Yeah, I definitely liked Alistair the most.
Me too. Alistair was my favorite, but I didn't like Alistair's dad at all.
Yeah. Alistair just gave me a more like human character vibe. You know, like he just was very much like still a bully, but he also was like, but I'm a human and I also have feelings. So, you know, he wasn't like ashamed. Like it was like Felix was like, oh my God, how dare I ever have a happy feeling? Like he was just like, it was like the fact of him possibly caring about somebody literally disgusted him.
Yeah, and
And
I
like
think it was just
Alice,
because how he grew up too.
yeah, and like Alistair was more like, you know, like he was more welcoming to his feelings for her.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I like him. Him and Dylan were good. I really just wanted them to be a throuple. Like I did not want Felix to be. I was like, when they were arguing over her, because you know, Dylan and Felix were getting all ego headed
Yeah.
and arguing back and forth over who she was. I was like, girl, just go with Dylan and Alistair and tell
Just
Felix you don't want nothing to do with him,
no, for
please.
real. No, because I Dylan and Alistair, like they already got along like with each other, but they weren't dicks like completely. Like they were dicks, but they knew when to be dicks, I guess is what I should say. Because like Felix
Yes.
just he really just there was never a time and a place where he was like, oh, okay, I'll leave her the fuck alone. Like he was like,
Like he
I'm
couldn't
always
read
gonna
the
be on her
room.
fucking case. Period.
Yeah.
Not
He
reading the
could
room at all.
he didn't he never knew how to read the room. Like he was just like you said, I'm gonna be on her. I'm just gonna be fucking on her 24/7. And the others were kind of like, okay, chill out. Like they recognized when she kind of needed some space, and Felix just did not know how to read that at all.
Yeah, that was something else. But I really think the book was good. Like I just think it could have had a little tweaks to it, shorter, a little bit of aftercare, a little more love, and
I feel
it would
like
have been fine.
shorter, yeah, like shorter and aftercare would have made it a lot better because aftercare especially because it would have made it seem like okay they're you know they're normal bully selves, but it would have gave it that aspect that they do actually care for her
Hmm.
because it was just they was fucking the shit out of homegirl and nobody was caring for her after.
And, right, and like I mean, it was a lot. Like even the trigger
and
warnings, it was a
and
lot
the
because I had to look them up, and so I
and the
didn't even
type
know that
of
they were doing all of that.
like the type of sex they were having, that's why it needed aftercare because it wasn't like they was just having some
Yeah.
regular sex. Like they were fucking the shit out of homegirl. Like
I'm like
she
double
really was
penetration. Like they were literally all like in
every
everything.
hole, every
That's what I'm
hole.
saying. They were touching everything, and it was like, okay, like there was a scene where she was like, "Oh, one of them's in my pussy, and the other one got in too." And I'm like, "Hold on!" Like after this, they were just like, "Let's go kill a guy," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, are we just gonna do that? Like, what's going on? Like, it was. I felt like there was a very big lack of just care for the main character.
Yes. And what was their obsession with jizzing all over her?
I don't know because I'm not a
like
fan like of that, and so like to each
like
their
it was,
own.
but it was constant. like I'm like, what is happening here?
No, they really were like they really were cutting the fuck up with that because it was like there was really no reason to want to do that, but I guess like I said, to each his own. I'm not judging. That's your kink, not mine.
It was just like a lot of
Every scene.
times. That's
It
why
was
I was
almost every scene.
like, if you're gonna jizz on her, okay, whatever, whatever. But like every scene, it was. So I was like, okay, this is clearly a pattern here.
What happened to nutting in somebody? Like, come on, like
No, they just
this
were
stuff.
just
We
all
want to
over her,
see it, okay?
all over her, and that's why I was like, the sex they were having, it was like, I was like, oh, maybe we'll get like a shower scene or like a bath scene because like they were doing really dirty stuff. So I was like, oh, maybe we'll get a scene where they're like, okay, now let's go put her in a nice bath and clean her up.
Yeah, like
No,
they were not doing that. Like they
it
didn't
wasn't.
eat not once, and I didn't like that.
We didn't get that. And then I always think it's so funny when like scenes, like when they're telling their parents, like, oh, I love them. And it's
Yeah,
like three of them because I know my parents would be like, girl, what the fuck are you talking about? You love them. Like,
no, for real. Like, like, how do you bring home three dudes to your mama and be like, "Hey,
yeah,
mom,
like
these are
those
my
scenes,
boyfriends."
they always get me because I really in my head be like, if I brought home three boyfriends, my mom would really be like, Ajanique, what the fuck do you got going on? What
No,
do you
for
have going on?
real.
Like,
Like,
her
are
mom's like,
you
you love them? Like, she's
all
like,
three of
yes.
them? How do you have that much love to share? I feel like that's something that they would say. A parent would definitely be like, "You ain't even got that much love to give."
And then the fact that Penelope really told her dad, like, I belong to them. That's cringe. I would never tell my dad I belong to them.
I am 31 years old, and my daddy would still whip my ass if I said some shit
She's
like
like,
that
I
to him.
belong to them. Like, you're telling your dad you belong to them? Girl,
I'm like, this is your daddy.
please stop.
Oh
She
my God.
just, her
She
character
was
just,
weak. She was kind of a weak woman, and I didn't care for it. I feel like that was really my biggest flaw for it. Like the book was long, but it was
mhm.
detailed. It had, it had a good storyline and all of that. Like I wasn't that, you know, concerned about the long book. But when it came to the character, she kind of was sucky. I'm not even gonna lie, because she could have stood up for herself just a little bit more.
Yeah. I think if her personality would have been a little bit stronger, it would have kind of changed the trajectory of the book a little. Because then it would have been like, they're mean, but like they're dishing it out, but she's also dishing it back. That's why I was like, in Den of Vipers, it's like different because Homegirl had such a strong personality that the mean shit they were doing didn't seem as mean because she was like a strong personality. It seems like even meaner when you have like a weaker character.
Yeah, I'm
It
like,
seems like it makes it seem like, oh my god, this poor helpless thing is just
yeah,
being abused. But when it's a stronger character, it's like, oh, like, she's just a kinky ass bitch.
right. Okay, so it comes off more as abuse when it's
Yeah.
a weak
when
person, but when it's
yes.
more of a strong-minded woman, you're just like, oh, okay, you just like sex a lot and like
Yeah, she just got
different types.
kinks. She just kinky.
Yeah. No, I agree because like girl, like you can't just go around licking men's cum up off the ground because you're trying to solve your sister's murder. There's a whole police department that will help you do that. Like they won't make you do that. I mean, they
It was,
might. They're kind of corrupt sometimes, but I mean, like, come on now. Like, she really went to the extreme so quick that it was just like, whoa, are you okay? Like, she needed therapy. Like, we talk about how
yes.
much we needed therapy, and now I feel like we kind of justified it. Like, we just some kinky bitches. She's weak and she needs therapy. And not that. weak people need therapy, but like she was a little weak minded and could use some help.
Yes, I agree. I agree. So, would you recommend this one?
Yeah, I'd still recommend it. I feel like if you like kinky books, like the sex scenes were worth it, and I feel like it was, it was very readable. But I will say if you like a book that's more of a slow burn, I guess I would call it a slow burn because it was kind of slow at parts. But if you like that type of book, then I would recommend it.
I would recommend it. I would say if you like a dark romance, this is truly a dark romance. Like,
It's dark.
it definitely is dark. And there's definitely, if you're definitely like someone who enjoys spicy books, this one's definitely spicy. The sex scenes, there's plenty of them. And they're
Of
doing
all
everything
kinds.
everything you could imagine. So if you're looking for something like that, and the book still has a good storyline, so I
Yeah,
definitely would recommend it.
definitely. I say check it out.
Alrighty, thank you guys for listening.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.